Hey there, I'm here to answer one simple question. Is Fire Emblem Heroes fun? The answer is no, but it's not the question I wanted to ask anyway. I thought I'd just point it out. No, rather, are the game modes fun? I'm talking Aether Raids, I'm talking Arena, I'm talking Voting Gauntlet, Lost Lore, Frontline Phalanx. The answer is going to vary. It's going to absolutely vary. Although I will say, out of all the ones we have, at least out of all the ones we have, I'd probably say there's maybe around 3 consistent ones in quality. I would say at least Aether Raids is good. Whether or not you like it, I still think for what it's worth, it's kind of been holding the game together fairly well in place. Hall of Forms, which is really fun. And I guess Arena Assaults? I don't think that one's a bad mode. I think it's kind of neat for what it offers, I guess. But for the rest, it's either just generic, boring, or just plain out bad. And that kind of got me thinking, what if we could just make these fun? You know, have a good time with the game? That kind of gave me the idea to talk about at least a few modes that I know that are terrible, that could easily go from being terrible to just fun, at least in my opinion. So with that, I think we could just go straight into the discussion and start with the Voting Gauntlet. I think we've all kind of established the only reason we ever find ourselves invested in a Voting Gauntlet is because they're giving away a free unit. And outside of that, it's really just your 5 plays, a couple feathers here or there, and that's pretty much it. Now, I think if they want to incentivize people to play these gauntlets each month beyond just that 5 initial rewards, I think they should be giving away a free unit every time. Now, it doesn't have to be like Ninja Lin levels of crazy. In fact, I think I have a better solution to that. I think if they were going to give away a unit at the end of every month, the gauntlet should be based on Grail units. I am still firmly under the belief that we should at least get some other method of obtaining Grail units, and we do have now the codes, which is great, but I don't know how much that's going to apply, but that's very limited in and of itself, as there's no guarantee which ones we're going to get, and we can't choose the ones we want. Now, initially, I was also an advocate of a Grail banner, and I still think that's not a bad idea. Like, similarly with the A Hero Rises banner, where top 4 placements get their own banner. Fine, boom, there you go. I think they can do that in terms of just getting people incentivized to play the mode. You make them all Grail units, you swap them out periodically so there's never really too much overlap, and we have a lot of Grail units anyway, so it's not as if they can't, like, they're going to run out of combinations for like voting gauntlets. First place everyone gets a free copy. Could be 4-star, could be 5-star. I don't think it really matters either way. And then a banner for the top 4. I don't think that's a bad idea either. Now, that fixes the incentivization, but I don't think that covers anything when it comes to actual gameplay, because the gameplay is I think that they should change up the way it works. They could probably turn it into a Tempest Trials sort of thing, where you go through a certain amount of maps until either you reach a certain point or all your units die, and your score will be based off the amount of maps cleared times the remaining HP, and then flags and so on and so forth, and multipliers or whatever. But I think that would be kind of a neat approach, and to make it so there's variety when it comes to what units you can use, instead of like some mishmash broken stuff all the time. They can incorporate Pawns of Loki unit combos. Not necessarily combos, but requirements for like extra points, so like maybe, okay, you gotta use a red tome this time. Go do that. I think something like that would kind of make the mode more fun, or at least different enough to where I wouldn't necessarily call it boring. But I feel like Voting Gauntlet's probably the easiest one to fix out of at least the 3 others I have on my list. One of the other ones being Lost Lore. Now, Lost Lore just sucks. All you do is press buttons and there it is. It's boring, you get some story every now and then, but there's really not much going for it. Maybe if they want to keep that first initial approach, that's fine, I guess. But maybe if they discover enough lore, we can play through we could play through specific maps that replicate the ones found in said game. So let's say it's telling about Marth's first chapter, right? You play through a mini-map that looks like his chapter, and you use the units that are mentioned in the lore. You clear the map, you unlock the next one. Maybe something like that. I think having more control over what goes on, rather than just press button, rinse and repeat until you get everything you want, is a much better approach than what we just have. Beyond that, I don't think there's much else to do about the mode. There isn't really anything going for the mode, so it's really hard to kind of recommend new stuff or like fixes or whatever, but I find that it's just not cutting it. But hey, if you're just there to get the rewards, easy in, easy out, then by all means, it's one of the best modes ever made in gaming. Then we have Frontline Phalanx. And I'll just tell you, it's crazy goddamn boring. There's nothing going for it. It's the same thing as Lost Lore, but more boring. You press button, that's it. Everything is done for you. And I don't even know where to begin with this one, because it's even way more limited than Lost Lore. Maybe instead of simulated attacks, we could do the attacking ourselves, kind of similar to like my idea for Lost Lore in a sense, where we could take control of maybe enemy units and try and strike down a captain on the map or something. And depending on the difficulty, you could easily go from like clearing it with no problem to having a hard time. I think it could be something more similar to the training tactics that we get every so often, where like you have the easy mode, you have the middle difficulty, and then you have the high difficulty. And that's kind of how you can probably format it. If not that, maybe some sort of mini game. I don't think we've really had a mini game that isn't just like tap battle. And I kind of would like to see more, but I don't know if they have the capabilities to do so, because making good game modes is difficult, apparently. I don't know. But in any case, I think we need some more hands-on stuff if we're going to be invested into these modes. And then finally, we have Tap Battle. Now, I think Tap Battle in itself is actually really fun. I understand why people don't like it, because, I mean, you can just kind of button mash a lot of the time, and the difficulties are kind of worthless when you don't get anything out of it, which is why I kind of think that they should do something with those difficulties. We haven't really gotten a Tap Battle in a while. We've gotten some of the revivals, but the last new one I remember, if I remember correctly, was the Tokyo Mirage Sessions ones, which was really cool, but then they just stopped doing it. I think rather than getting some sort of, maybe let's say, daily logins or rewards for clearing each map, we have a scoring system instead. Sure, like, keep the rewards, but distribute them in a different manner. And maybe give us more if we do some of the higher difficulties within like a really great combo or something. Maybe something like that would be cool, but there's really not much else I can think of for the mode. I think for the most part it's not that bad of a mode. I just think there's a lot of stuff there that just doesn't have to be there. And if they can make some sort of way to incentivize players to play those difficulties or play in a certain way they want them to, then I think it would benefit the mode in the long run. But those are just my thoughts on these game modes. What do you think? I would like to see them try more with how game modes are, kind of like how we did with Ponza Loki, but I don't really have a lot of confidence in them. So do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you really think of the ideas? Do you think they're stupid? Do you think they're awesome? Let me know. If you have ideas, mention them. Like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. Alright, thanks.